Hello, YouTube. I am your host, the Crimson Warrior, coming at you guys today with what the implications of Master Rule 5 or Master Rule April 2020, I believe they're calling it, has for the game. It changes everything, basically. It makes Shaddolls functional. Blackwings go back to where they were with not needing to waste resources on Link summoning at all. Burning Abyss can put out multiple Dante, and while Cherubini is a great card, you don't need it anymore. I could still see it getting used in that deck though. As well as Ritual Beast not needing to use the new Link monster. I'm not sure if that helps them or not because the Link seemed to work well into their loop, although I have not put the time into learning that loop again. But with the new Master Rule, it changes everything. What decks do you guys foresee going forward that could be absolutely broken? I hear talk of Fluffles. Thunder Dragons can put out triple Colossus under this rule, basically. So unless they get preemptive hits, things can go crazy. I can see TG Hyper Librarian getting hit, so this could honestly be a banlist discussion. There's so many, like, they've let so many synchro monsters off the hook because you can't synchro like you used to. Like, the synchro era was broken. It had so much good stuff. TG Hyper Librarian, Trishula. Well, Trishula wasn't good. I don't like Trishula. That needs to be limited to one most likely. Wow, and I thought I was worried about Psyframe Lord this morning. He's still limited to one. So honestly, like, it makes everything so different. It freshens things up a lot. Other things, Six Samurais are absolutely broken under the new format. Multiple, what's their favorite dude? It's not the Great Shogun Shien. It's whatever, the Spell and Trap Negate. I can't remember his name. My dinosaurs all of a sudden can put out multiple negates without having to go into a Link monster if you can get Lagya and Dolka on the field. So much interesting stuff comes into play because of this Master Rule. Shaddolls, now we don't need to rely on a crappy Link monster to go into our plays, basically. We can just play the way we used to. It's so great for Konami to be like, we understand we tried to balance pendulums out, and pendulums and Links still need to be balanced out the way they currently are. But Links, Xyzs, and Fusions are completely let off the hook and can finally breathe again. My friend Alejandro just told me he picked up a Karakuri deck because of the hype and the new support that's coming out. And I honestly just being able to build Blackwings freely again. Like, Shaddolls didn't feel too bad building, especially if you put in the right extenders with it and you were maybe just trying to helmet up into one Shaddol monster. But Blackwings, like, you had one of our best boss monsters, for example, Raikiri, requires all other Blackwing monsters. So either you're going to have to spam all of your Blackwing monsters, go into Raikiri, link it off, and then go into something else, which takes so much resources. Now we have access to our boss monsters. We can do everything that is intended for us. It's just so much better than it was, basically. Now we don't have to use Wee Witch. I was just about to get IP Masquerade, honestly, but it's like, at this time, it's like, what's the point? I was picking up IP specifically for Blackwings because of the way it helps the deck. But if it's not going to help Blackwings, I don't really need it. Like, I've got Shaddolls on the back burner. I've got Blackwings on the back burner. I'm building BA currently and just have a few cards left from that archetype to collect. Like, the deck, all of these decks are just all of a sudden playable again, and it really changes things up. I can see a lot of people trying new decks again, and honestly, and no offense to Konami, but the product recently has been really subpar. Nothing is beating Orcust, Salad, Thunder Dragon, and Striker. Those are still the main four top decks that are looping around each other, with Orcust becoming the more and more degenerate one as time and time goes on. So allowing these old cards the breathing room again to maybe come up and challenge Orcust would be really interesting. Now, I hope this doesn't mean that everything's going off with a light slap, because I'm so tired of playing this format. Like, I feel like I'm playing the same format I did when I joined the game, which is great from a learning perspective because everything I learned still works, but I'm not adapting to anything new. And that's how I felt like I was really starting to advance when I was playing back in the days, starting to fight these new decks, logging those old encounters, and then trying, because no one has any incentive right now to try anything new. It's so stale. Locals is either Orcust or True Draco or Stun, which is really irritating because basically all of the old players who hate the new link mechanics have just gone to playing degenerate, crappy stun decks, which are really irritating to play against and just not a good time. So it's like maybe these older players can come in with their fusion hero deck, and honestly this could make me hate heroes less again, because at least they're playing that and not triple judgment stun. Well, they might still be playing triple judgment, but it diversifies the format in a format where we've been stale for a long time now. We still have to wait 4 months for this to happen, basically. I mean, New Year's is just a week away at this point. But even if no product shakes up the meta, even if the ban list doesn't shake up the meta, being able to XZ, Synchro, and Fusion how we used to, with no restriction on it at all, is amazing. Now, the one thing I am confused about with this is, does your first XZ Synchro end up in the main monster zone, or just Fusion XZs Synchros can go in the main monster zones now? Because if you have to clog up your main, your extra monster zone first, that kind of sucks. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to be able to play my old decks again. All of a sudden, my Blackwing extra deck just got 6 free slots once this new Master Rule comes out. Like, I'm taking Links out at that point. It's like, why would I play Links? Like, maybe Boral Sword, Borreload, the best ones, but if I don't need them to ladder up in my combos, why would I play them? They've done nothing for us because Konami never decided to support us that way. And on that note, like, now all of these decks that have been under a chokehold, because until Konami releases a product for them that helps start their plays, and that's what it is. It's like you have to start your plays basically to get access to the rest of your stuff. So it basically decides what your combo is at that point. Then the deck just stays dead and in the graveyard, basically. But now, all of a sudden, these decks that used to have these plays can just do what they used to and have fun again. It's an absolutely amazing thing to think about because it changes so much. Like, it allows for so much breathing room and evolution to come to the format. All of a sudden, these Toolbox, XZ, and Synchro monsters, like, have you heard anyone, unless they have like a tuner built into their deck, or they play a ludicrous amount of the same amount of monsters, like rank 4s, you don't need that. Like, no one says that I need a generic, it's always a generic link now. I need some sort of generic link, and that totally ends that. Now Konami can balance links out because it feels like links have become everything. I'm like a kid in a candy store here. Like, these were my formats. This is when I learned and played the game. And for grandfather Konami to come in and be like, here you go, son. Play your Blackwings again the way you used to. You don't need to use Ewitch. You don't need to use IP. You don't need Unicore. Just dark Synchros and XZs. Like, and honestly, that opens up totally different play lines to where we wouldn't even need some Moon, because right now Blackwings are full armor master turbo. That's it. And it's like, my friend keeps pointing it out. He's like, there's not only full armor master, and I'm like, But yeah, all we have resources for is a wee witch and a full armor master. That's all we can consistently pull off. But now we can body two synchros or body a synchro and an XZ, and with the good hands, multiple black whirlwinds and stuff like that, I could see whole boards of white or whole boards of like checkerboarded. Like I could have synchros, XZs. I could summon Black Rose again to punish my opponent for overextending. Yeah, that's what synchros used to do. Like, that's the shit. For real. Like, come on. It's absolutely amazing to see all of this toolbox stuff come back. And the guy who runs our tournaments, he wanted this change to happen because he has binders of extra deck stuff that's just sitting around that's all of a sudden going to be raising and lowering in price because it's all new. It's all playable again. It's all like all of these new players have only joined in during Link format. You get to see what a lot of us old players have only got to tell you about because it's like we weren't playing. If we're still playing now, we're not playing duels under Master Rule 3 pretending we're still there because, I mean, what are we going to do? Make another GOAT format? Like, really? And this completely unnecessitates that. It completely just says, there you go. All of these old mechanics that weren't degenerate like pendulums can breathe again. Now, synchroing's pretty degenerate if they don't hit a couple things, like I said earlier, like TG Hyper Librarian and Trishula, but a couple of synchros and a couple of XZs hitting the ban list once again because they were absolutely broken is not a bad thing. It's just Konami probably going to rebalance the format to make things go the way they should in the new format, where as many people as possible feel like they can play their old and new decks and we can experiment again. And they're releasing a lot of legacy support at this point in time, and this actually frees up card design for the legacy support. So this makes sense from a financial standpoint for Konami as well, which works out because if it works out in the financial interest of Konami, it'll work out for us players. And to see all of this legacy stuff, to see the old support coming out, to see that pendulums and links are still stuck under this master rule because Konami admits that they need to stay under those rules to be balanced, but that synchros and XZs and fusions can just go back to Master Rule 3, basically. We're going right back to Master Rule 3. Like, that's incredible. Like, this is Master Rule 3.5, really. Like, links and pendulums in the jailhouse and synchros, XZs, and fusions just get to run free. It's absolutely incredible. I think I'm going to leave it off with that. I'm really hopeful for the future. I can't wait to see where things go. If you guys enjoy the content, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about Master Rule 3.5. What deck are you excited for to come back? Subscribe if you enjoy that content and hit the notification bell if you never want to miss an upload because it ain't stopping now. Peace, guys.